basically, Charles Lindbergh was the unofficial leader of the isolationist movement, which I didn't, again, when I started research, I knew, of course, of his isolationist sentiments and that he was very important. I didn't realize how important. These two men were the most famous men in America. And they basically faced off against each other in this fight. He was the head of the isolationist movement. The isolationist movement was not organized at all until very late in 1941 when America First, when the Yale students created America First. And Charles Lindbergh, as I said, being the most one of the most famous men in America, being an American hero ever since he crossed the Atlantic in 1927, was looked to by people who were against the whole idea of getting involved, looked to as their leader. This is a man who had never been involved in foreign policy, didn't know anything really about foreign policy, didn't know anything about history, for that matter. All he knew about was how to fly an airplane really well. Stepped up to the plate, and he hated the whole idea of publicity. He had fled the U.S. with his family in the mid-1930s to get away from publicity, which he and his wife were convinced had led to the kidnapping and murder of their son. So he comes back in 1939, right back into the maelstrom of this whole celebrity thing, because he truly believed that this country should stay out of the war for his own specific reasons. And so he elected to lead this movement in a sense. He was not an official leader, but he was on the radio all the time, giving speeches that we had to stay out of this war. And so therefore, he, not surprisingly, became a nemesis for Franklin Roosevelt. Franklin Roosevelt saw him as a true threat to the country. He really, truly believed he was a Nazi. Charles Lindbergh was not a Nazi. He was very wrong-headed about what he did and said, but he was not a Nazi. Roosevelt did, however, believe that he was, and he basically set out with his administration to ruin him, just in terms of his leadership of the isolationist cause.